have changing schools approach. I think what really fascinated me within all of that was always looking at culture and the way that culture plays a role in terms of how we interpret things.
Sizden şöyle çevirirsek biz de göreceğiz. Ekranımızda
Açmak ister misin?
Burayı göstermeyi gördük.
Benim göster. O zaman şöyle yapıyorum. Bir dakika. Ne yapmam gerekiyor?
Something where there is people with these different cultures coming
Bir dakika.
together.
Şey zaman bir dakika.
Şöyle,
All of that ends up shaping.
şöyle yapalım. Makinenin
I think that's
Neyle?
telefon zoom'a girse ekranı neyle yapabiliriz? Bakın dedim.
looking at these people like, wow, cool, you can drive. You know, yeah, stuff like that. Yeah.
They can't see Zoom.
No.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think that there's quite a bit of parallel between those, and I think it's also
Now?
regarding sort of the stories we tell ourselves.
I'm not in the.
So in a way,
I can see it.
The way I do my life today, having gone through different phases of even within my own culture, having been living in Morocco, I was immersed in my own culture, and coming here, it's a whole.
Yeah, this is what I see in the
So
live.
it impacts me in that way, but also impacts me in the sense of
Ya değişik. Oğlum bana benim
different places in the
ekran
world, or just trying to tell stories about different
Beni görüyor musun?
Oh yes, they can't hear anything.
Their upbringing,
Nakit saçmadım.
their actions, why they're doing certain things. Also, just how identity.
I'm getting it from my family.
Now, Leticia, I'll repeat the question for you, and I'm really curious what you're going to have to say about this. So, when you were a child, what is something you were profoundly fascinated? Something that you could always just be in a childlike awe of.
Benim ekranım
Did you hear me? I believe you were muted as well.
Didn't I accept you?
She cannot hear properly.
No.
Beautiful. Accept you.
Okay, you know what? I'll get back to you, Leticia. So,
Sorry, can you repeat that again? It's very bad connection. I can't barely hear you.
it's okay.
WhatsApp on this
Can you hear
one.
me now?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So, what is
Wait, it's
when
you.
you were a child? What was something that you were always deeply fascinated by?
What?
Please repeat again.
When you were a child, what was something you were deeply fascinated by?
I can't hear you. It breaks. It breaks up. Can somebody maybe type the question? I cannot hear it.
Okay.
Sorry, I hear many voices, but not yours very clear.
Yeah, I already sent it.
When I was a child, I was fascinated with. As a child, I was fascinated with the fact that I could see. I don't know how to explain it. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
benim şeyim yok. Benim kamerayı bağlayalım diyorum. Benim kamerayı.
Yes.
So the question is, when I was a child, what was something that I was deeply fascinated with? I wanted to learn why was the airplanes could fly. Funny enough, I was very little, and my father was an engineer. But although he explained it to me, I watched him read and study books on airplanes. But I still couldn't believe that such a big machine could actually fly. So that was one of my big fascinations as a child.
That's a great answer. Thank you. So I think we're going to need someone to message her. Things that matter.
Oh, I saw you.
So just, that was a great answer. Yeah. I think that's what we have to see. I have a more concrete question when it comes to education. And I'm going to start with access. So I think access is really one of the first things you think about when we're trying to address issues when we're talking about marginalized groups. It's like, how can we open as many doors as possible? How can we bring as many people into the room as possible? But I'm really curious that we never really get concrete about what access is. And I think all of you really have different approaches to access. So in that case, what does access mean to you? Eunice, I'd like to start with you on this one.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right with what you said. We're expected to be thinking about access as just opening doors for as many people as possible. But I think in reality, sometimes we don't just need these doors to be open. We also need a guide to help us choose the right door that's for us, and also a guide to help us tell us that hey, this doorknob is quite hot, so be careful. And I think what that would translate to, at least in my field, so we focus on digital literacy at FICRA. And there, what we notice is that we're often taught at school, for example, things like, well, here is the internet where you can research. And we're not often taught about how we can research and find the right accessible and credible sources online. So I think that's sort of the thing about opening doors with accessibility in education. We often think about like laptops and computers that work out people in areas that they can't get access to. And that's important, of course, but then it's also about taking that step beyond and making it something that's one available to them, something that they're actually interested in, and something that grasps their curiosity, and then to be able to explore things further and be independent learners by themselves and not necessarily relying upon always having a teacher. And so this kind of journey of lifelong learning.
And how do you experience that lifelong learning in yourself as well?
Well, I think it's a bit complicated. I think in a way, lifelong learning, the way I see it, is that I'm sort of this vessel that's always receiving input and receiving information from everyone. And as this vessel, I need to understand how this vessel works. So what are the things that can possibly go wrong? And what are the things, the biases that I can come into? And how can I go beyond these actually go into an exploration that is kind of authentic and understanding of everything. And so obviously you cannot be knowledgeable about everything. But it's about setting yourself sort of these, the way I see it is that I try to set myself these goals about things that I'm curious about. And it could be like a topic as broad as the Dutch parliamentary elections. And then how can I learn about this through the people around me? How can I go and see different places that speak about this? But then also, how can I use this to try to create something new out of it? So it's sort of like this process that involves involving myself within it, but then also creating something unique out of it and building a story around that. I don't know if that sort of answers your question.
Yeah, thank you. That's a perfect answer to it. Yeah. And I'm also curious, Daryl, what do you from that?
Well, it's the same, but then again, how different. Like, when you talk about access, in my opinion, then I cannot detach that from politics. So access is politicized. So I'm a youth worker, like you said in introduction, and a teacher as well. And I cannot detach a political reality from a group of marginalized people, for instance, let alone people from the working class or trans people and right? There are different combinations possible. So in my case, when a group of youngsters wants to get to another level higher or what kind of diverse level of education, I need to know how their bodies, how their political beings has been or have been politicized. So in that case, I need to do research. Like, suppose a lot of people of color are struggling on levels of education. We know for a fact, including in this city, there's still a lot of under-advisory kind of tactics in place are still in place. So as soon as they think, well, you're from that area or you embody this cultural color, you're probably not fit enough to go to the university. There was a rule and law in this so-called progressive city 2-3 years ago. They would relate your housing situation in relation to your ability and thus accessibility. So that was wild. They got rid of that 2-3 years ago. But that would be my first question. Like, how is like, so you need to know how parts of people's identities, whether it's individual or in a group, is politicized, how it has been used in policies. That would be a first.
Just touch base, bring caveats. I think that both of you have going to Leticia as well. Do you have a question for her?
Hi, I think I heard my name. Sorry, the connection is still not great. For me, access to what I mean access in education, I like many. I think some of the speakers has mentioned is access to technology, especially nowadays. Unfortunately, in rural areas, I live, for example, if I travel and I live in South Africa and other countries in Africa, so technology is not always accessible. That doesn't mean that people cannot be educated. There's other means to get people to access to education. So and I think somebody hasn't touched this, but for me also access also means access for people with disabilities. No sucesso. Can somebody can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
So yeah, to me as having access to not only just books and material, which is, and also qualified teachers, and like I mentioned, access to for me as important that even children with disabilities can get access to schools. So that's for me what access means on education.
Interesting. Thank you so much. I think there's interesting there's some connections here and some divisions that seems between your approaches to access. I hope someone's writing this down here. Because I've seen on the one hand, seems like what what you mentioned is that access is enough. It's like you can't just have a computer. You have to have someone maybe help you out, or not just connections here, but somebody who is willing to reevaluate their own biases to go through that. So if we say that access isn't enough, and Leticia, I'm also curious about your opinion. If access is not enough to improve education, where do we go from there? What do you think can balance that dynamic? Eunice, I'd like to start with you.
Sorry, like I said, I'm just trying to change to a different channel because I barely hear your questions. I know you said, let me just repeat what I think you asked me. If there is no technology available or access to education, what to do next? Is that correct?
I'll tell her that she can start with the question.
Okay, so yeah, sorry, I was just I can see what I say is correct. Yes, so what to take it from there? So there is no access to technology or to schools. We just have to make sure the other organizations, starting with the government, provides those access. Created schools in areas where there is, like I said, no access to technology, but there has to be a way where I have seen it here in countries like South Africa, where even communities create their own, in a small scale, education centers for people to get education as much as they can. So to provide at least, and it could be in any sort of, depends of the areas. Sometimes to get access to a school, they need to provide also transport. Which is also quite important in education, especially in rural areas. So it's not only just have schools available and teachers with that they are prepared. It's just need to get those students to the locations where they can be taught.
Thank you so much, Leticia. Now I'm going to go to Eunice for this.
Absolutely, I think it's difficult to answer the question about what to do about access without taking into consideration the local communities that you're trying to serve. So I think, in my opinion, going down the route where I've seen this issue of access not being able to actually go to school happen quite often, and that schools being too far away. And I think when we're dealing with a situation like this, it's also a need to be encouraging the students themselves to want to have that drive, because bus or walk, regardless, you still need that motivation to want to go. So even if you go, it's a classroom of 60 people inside, and you're getting no attention in terms of your learning, then it ends up being still quite a difficult experience where now sure you have access to the internet, but you don't have access to how to look beyond that. So I think how to approach the whole access situation is by also just finding sort of these things that can start fires within people, spark that curiosity. And I think that's more of a sort of mentorship or a peer-to-peer kind of model where you are a lot closer to the students and you're a lot closer to the people you're interacting with, and having more teachers available, higher quality, and all this are all important things to access as well.
And I think you know touched on something that I think all related to some extent. That you have to be personally interested in that. So to what extent you say that it's a matter of personal responsibility versus that on the system, right? Or do you think it really is 50-50?
Yeah, it's part of this 50-50 situation because as a child, of course, you're not expected to be able to know everything about the world. And also, the adults around you are supposed to serve as guides throughout this world as you become an adult. So I think it's sort of this 50-50 thing of we have to rely on local institutions to actually set up a proper educational system for us to be able to access schools. But at the same time, we have to rely on NGOs to make sure to help us advocate for the things that we need to be aware of. The same way we need to be pushing upon companies to not be to also be more conscious in the way that they educate us about the issues around the world and all these things. So I think it's the responsibility of sort of community as a whole. And I think once that curiosity is sparked within an individual, you can start to see ripple effects that go across different places.
Yeah, a lot has been said already, but in addition, again, in my belief when it comes to politics, I think you need to stabilize the primary parts of life in terms of income, housing. Let's just said something about, provide people the monetary access they want to get on the bus. Like you said as well, right? Some people live further away than others. So in terms of the primary livelihood, like housing, healthcare, if you stabilize those things, like how about living wage for all people regardless of income? That would help so much, right? Or universal health care, not related so much to burn or not, that kind of stuff. So again, to me, it's political. If you fix all those primary parts of life, people will get more inspired, directed in order to challenge themselves more. So it's all intertwined. So that would be my answer. Like fix those areas of life, and people will receive less challenges on the way, like roadblocks, in terms of what they want to achieve in terms of education.
Yeah, that's I think both all of you really made an excellent point, especially when we talk about roadblocks, right? Because oftentimes it really is just it's not about how motivated you are, but how much space you have to be motivated, right? Because it's so easy to start talking about these things when you have the privilege of you don't have to worry about is food gonna be on the table, or it's like if I have to take this direction, or people can be catcalling me, things like that. Like, these are very real questions. But I think when we talk about, I think what we've also been touching on here is an issue of community and different parties, different individuals being involved. And this is a really good dive into the relationship between education and technology. So I'm curious what all of you think about this. And Carol, I'm going to start with you on this one because you just see we getting a lot of the first ones. But when we talk about online communities, at what point, what do you think is the difference between knowledge space where you feel people can have an open dialogue with each other when they learn, and a closed online community where it just becomes an echo chamber, like maps are for example. So the question is, what is my take on that? I think the latter would be hella problematic. And we talk about algorithms as well, right? And I'm not that technical at all. Like I fancy, yeah, it's part of our vision, basically, our daily life. When we talk about technology in terms of education, also youth, I'm having a hard time catching these people, the younger people online. So yeah, I would totally advocate not to prove it out, close it out. It's impossible. So it's here, it's there. The main question would be like,
what are you going to do in order to protect, in order to serve, in order to inform the people like, hey, the way you want to live your life could be an amazing addition when it comes to technology, right? So it doesn't have to replace your reality. That usually what happens in the secure space of what people internalize that reality, and nothing else is possible anymore. And when it comes to a subculture, to give an example, I have a lot of boys who don't feel that, and they get on YouTube and they just get something to them rabbit hole, and that's really dangerous. And usually in terms of perfection, I'm too late already. So whatever culture doing is kind of interested already. Like there are people luckily they see with this because it's a hell of a challenge and thus a problem for people who are in communities and are less techy than I, like I am, or others are not able to find a way through that quickly. It's really also have you here talking about it.
I just want to touch like a little bit deeper into that. Like, at what point do you feel when you talk about those boys who don't want to get all culture? When did you feel like that was too late?
Well, basically the new narratives they learn about how to express themselves because a lot of boys in terms of patriarchy, internalized patriarchy, they're insecure and that's normal. But then again, as a young boy, you're not allowed to be insecure, right? You have to be tough. You have to be the future. You need to carry the family. You can't cry. Emotions are, hence I call gay. Like, what does that even mean, right? So usually all these mixtures of ingredients, toxic ingredients, they usually give me the feeling like I need to be part of that, but not part of that. Like I need to derail them from that narrative because it's very strong and attach it to the things they think they deserve, fed through our society fabric right now. So yeah, that usually is my notion for when you should be there. I need help. I need people in communities who are gonna reflect upon their privileges in relation to what they think they deserve or not, at the expense of others, women especially. That is a problem. So usually when the feelings get out and they reflect upon minds, I know I'm too late.
That's really an insight you made on that, and I'm also curious about Letitia's views on this. So the question is then, someone can write this down. You got it? Okay. That's good. Letitia, you were on.
Yes, I can hear you now. The question is basically technology and education. Is that what you're asking? Sorry, I can't hardly hear you.
Okay, like this.
Yeah, so anyway, one of the main benefits of technology and education will be the students have access to sources and information, so from anywhere. Like I said, it's not always possible, especially on countries or areas where there is too much rural areas and then they have no access to internet or online resources. So yeah, for me, although it's very important and we need to get other around the world access to technology for education, it's not always possible.
Thank you. Now, Eunice, considering this is sort of the focus of your work, I'm really curious about how you approach both Daryl's issue that she mentioned about what's falling into insult culture, considering no longer the podcast is supposed to discuss role of pornography in these things as well. And also Letitia's point about access. Because, right, a lot of the root of this is, yes, access to technology, but using it in the wrong way. You know, you can have access to Reddit, but then you're exposed to all these negative things because there's no to help you out. So how do you approach these issues?
Of course, I think there's actually quite some parallels between the works that we do. So imagine if you have like a student that comes to you who is dealing with all these toxic masculinity figures around their lives, and they tell you about it, and you start seeing these effects on them. You start looking for ways to help them. You try to be a more of a positive masculine figure in your life. In a way, I think, and the same way that works in real life, that works quite talk about online as well, because I think what we often end up in is situations of echo chambers where we end up this feedback loop giving us only the data we're interested in. And because of that, we end up only confirming the thoughts that we already have and the assumptions we already have. And so it's about kind of opening our eyes to these other parts of the online world as well. Just a small example, I think my algorithm, for example, views that one, I'm a person that comes from Morocco, two, I'm a man, three, I'm of this age, and four, I have these people on my follow list. So if I'm showing Joe Rogan and Jordan Peterson because I'm interested in the thing this year, I automatically end up in this red pill pipeline that's giving me this information that's all like, well, women know how to write sports, and I'm like, well, how did we get here? I'm a man. It doesn't mean anything, you know? And so I think because of that, it's a situation of trying to open your horizons beyond what you just know. And so what I try to do is put in a conscious effort towards, doing these different points other than the points that I have. So I like to go and read the sun, even though I won't necessarily read every few points. I like to go and listen to Boston's on because even listening to that, I can see how my views can be different because I tend to generally side more on the CNN side. So even though my identity, my beliefs are more aligned with CNN, it's still important for me to be viewing that the Fox News perspective to not be pushing each other further apart and instead getting closer to build a true community, not a community based on identities of the classes.
Really, I think that's a really nice to that. And then I think also when we talk about education too, this is more of a taboo issue, but I still think this work really delves into it. It's about how, because at times even something like pornography is used as a means of education. And do you feel like that is the expression of a certain social problem, like maybe schools should do a better job of including sexual education? Or do you feel like that's sort of a natural symptom of exposing kids or getting kids access to these things at such a young age?
Well, I think we learn in a lot of different ways. I think education itself is not confined to the classroom, the interaction I have in the classroom. And so, because of that, I think with porn, sure, many of us can use it as a way to learn about their sexual lives, their interests, and the way we interact sexually. And it's important for us to do that because we can see it. But at the same time, it's important for us to consider the effect that that has on us. So we know, for example, even though this is going to be a little bit debated with the research, we know damn well that porn can lead us to have more extreme perceptions about what sex is. And so because of that, if we are watching intense pornography, that could be a bit something that is not necessarily realistic. So we know in guys around us that if we are a teacher through sexual education classes, that where they not only teach us about their sexual organisms, but also dive into things like our sexual identity, or dive into things about how we shape our views about our own sexual identity. I think these things would be kind of interesting to dive into in the classroom. But also there's a certain responsibility that parents have in the sense that they are the ones that limit access to a lot of their kids about can you use your phone at a certain time, can you use your iPad at a certain time. And because of that, it's also about equipping your children or equipping the youth with the tools necessary for them to make their own decision. Because ultimately, when everyone grows old, when you're 18, you're alone, there's no one telling you what not to do when you're gone. You have access to all of that in your fingertips. Just managing that balance so we don't.
Okay, excellent answer. And then I'd like to turn back to Letitia then, because Letitia, you mentioned that a lot of the environments you go to, there there is a lack of technology. So, what are some of the ways that you notice people can still learn in the absence without technology as a support system? Yeah, of course, yeah. So you visit all these areas where there is a lack of technology. Um, what are some what are some ways that people can learn without technology instead, which you have observed?
Yeah, so while I'm in parts of or country areas where there is no access to technology, what I found out is organizations take take a different way to teach children by first of all motivating them to go to school, and like one of the speakers mentioned, food scheme is important, so children go to school also because they get a meal while they're at school, and then they get other type of motivation by playing sports or doing art. So that gives the motivation for those children to go to school, and then from there they just the teachers, well, whatever tools they have in the community and these external organizations, they try their best to teach children with those tools, with what they have. So although there is no technology available, like I said, it's just rural areas or just too poor communities, and you can't they have no access to online or technology. So these other methods are what they use to create some sort of education.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. And now we're going to delve into a bit of a different section of this whole discussion. And I'm going to require some audience interaction here on this one. So yes, this is going to be about Palestine as well. Now, the only assignment you have to do is just raise your hand if you feel the sentence applies to you. I'm going to be talking about school. We can also include work. So school can be substitute for place of employment as well. Thank you. Everybody here is included in this. I know more about Palestine now than I did 1 year ago. My school or place of employment provided me with a thorough education about Palestine. And finally, finally, my school has provided me with resources to learn about Palestine. Oh, yes. Oh, apologies. Yeah, okay. So, for those of you on Zoom, people who answer the room, only one person raised their hand pretty much for the last two questions. So thank you for the reminder on that one. Really, thank you very much. Apologies to those online. So, that was a very interesting little exercise we did there. But I'm curious, those of you, and including everyone here, who said that they did have, that their school did provide them with an education, how so? Would you be willing to speak about that quickly? Thank you. Yeah. No.
So I maybe I misunderstood your question, but I'm thinking about primary school and then high school. I went to school in Egypt. I was born and raised in Cairo. It was kind of a great bit of social studies, our history. We learned quite a bit about Palestine and where, like this. Oh my God. We learned a lot about the history of Palestine and where it came from, and what happened with the colonization and the history of it all throughout the 19th century. Yeah. So I kind of grew up just knowing that in the back of my mind, studying that and what's happening right now with that definitively wrong. So yeah, I've become way more aware of course after my own education and my own seeking information. But yeah.
Thank you so much, John. Thank you so much for talking about that. But I think it's worth noting that the only person who got that education in the school was somebody who was very close to geographical proximity to that area. But we do also have a relatively personal and close connection to this issue as well when it comes to employment and education. Would you be willing to share that a bit with us today? Yeah.
Yeah, usually when you talk about Palestine, that's how we put it nowadays. People just freak out, or maybe a bit less after the 7th of October. But I was lucky. I was 8 years old, so 30 years ago. I had an Iranian babysitter, and that changed everything. I lived in the southeast of Amsterdam, And she gave me all the counter narratives I needed because on the national news, the Dutch national news, we saw the westernized frames basically was different things. So, and it took me about 15 years to go on the streets with just a blue. So that was the first, and I realized when I got to school, obviously, because that was mandatory at that age, nothing was said at all. So I looked up to people, and I wanted support, and that's how I got into these circles, which I also watch these people. So in terms of education, a lot of people they fall into these ideas, frames like I live through protesting. You must be a Jew here. Not knowing we have a lot of Jews living already lived already there before the Israelis and colonized area already came. So people need to know that, and that's what I try to embody, whether if I'm a teacher at the house, or doing my youth work at another organization. So you have to be loud, you have to be visible, where you can see is drop stickers on every window you can. Usually young kids, when they see you there, then they start asking questions like, oh, what does that mean then? Are you one of us? Well, no, I'm not Muslim. But I know what Russian means in terms of my ethnicity, in terms of my nationality, in terms of my skin. And that is something that truly helps in terms of education. Find the common denominator in your classroom. And usually that's about pain. If you want to talk and break down depression, you have to talk about pain. And not like, hey, how are you suffering today? It's not like that. It's more like, how was your week? And what do we feel when it comes to Palestine? How do we relate that to Black Heat and November and December when that is? I tell kids, like, oh, you're not Muslim, but why do you work here with us? And literally said, I can connect on different levels of our identities. And that's the question. That's the common denominator. So that's why I advocate Palestine all the way, wherever possible, wherever needed. Since it embodies the anti-Western imperialist hemisphere. So we talk about Yemen as well, about Congo, about Sudan, and all the other countries, and I am suffering, and those people.
Oh, yeah. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. I mean, you mentioned something that's really, I think we all need to reflect on a bit, that it's about talking about pain, right? And I think a big part of pain is also really either seeing your students, like taking the time to see your students, taking the time to see the people you're trying to help through technology as well, but also taking the time to see your subjects as a journalist. So I think I'd like to start with that question now to kind of round off this section of the evening as well. So I want to start with Leticia. We can get someone writing on that. What is one, in your journalistic endeavors, what is one way you try to really see your subjects?
Sorry, I'm waiting for someone to type because I can't barely hear you. To see Massadia as a journalist. Well, like I said, maybe can you elaborate more on the question exactly? Like I said, I missed half of the what's going on. So if you can rephrase the question for me.
What is one way you try to make your subjects feel seen?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, that's a better way to put it. Yeah. So for me is what I do is I tell the story. So I trying to find stories, and those could be a school or could be a organizations that is trying to help on education system. Like I said, whether it is do a feeding scheme or trying to motivate students with sports or art or any other kind of activities. And then I put the stories together where I take the challenges of the like I said, the subjects, as you call, the schools or the students, and then the organization who's trying to help or do something towards changing those challenges. So that's how I find the stories. And as a journalist, is my only way is basically being the middle person between what the challenges are and possible options or solutions to those challenges.
Thank you so much for that. Now, Eunice. So, Eunice, you have to build on that. But how do you either try to make your participants out your podcast feel seen, or make the audience like listen to your podcast, or read the numerous articles you have on your website feel seen as well?
I think the way I see it is about it's a lot about empathy in a way, and of course, empathy is a word that's often talked around in these conversations. But sometimes we can find it difficult a bit to empathize with that other side. But if we think about it within the stories that we see in real life, stories like Breaking Bad, for example. Breaking Bad is a story about a person that's bad, arguably sells drugs, and he's a chemistry teacher. It's not someone that is on more on the right side, but still throughout the entire Breaking Bad series, you empathize with him. You're able to see his side and be like, well, yeah, this person did screw him over, or this person did help him out and really to achieve his goal. And so, in that story, what you can tell a bit about is that you can see the context of that person. So I try to see always in order to be able to make someone feel heard and make someone feel like they're contributing to the conversation is by understanding the context as well and framing the whole conversation around that. Because at the end, that's what shapes the way we see things, and that's the way that ends up shaping our entire conversation.
Yes, yeah, thank you for that. And then, right, yeah. And Daryl, how about you? How do you make your students really feel seen?
Well, usually it helps to break the hierarchy. Like in my classroom, everyone passed the course already from scratch. He has to explain that. And in addition, I don't like to be called like Mr. Teacher or whatever. Daryl's just enough. And hopefully it creates a more safer environment in order to share whatever you're going through. And yes, I have liberals in my classroom as well. I need to accept that because I chose to be a teacher. As a youth worker, it's different. I do both, right? But they're way younger, so you need more other tricks and tips, whatever, in order to get them in and make them feel seen. But what they have in common, again, is being vulnerable. Like, I know Oracle, I don't know everything about politics or the educational Dutch school system, it doesn't matter. As soon as someone struggles or, experience all these roadblocks and whatever, I can tell them, like, just jump on the internet and find your way, and we have something called Google, that's one way to do it. But in addition, you could tell them, like, hey, I'm not sure as well, I haven't been there, this subject is new to me. So in addition, why don't we find out both? Like, I can help you with that or support you. That usually always helps. Like, I'm in no position, I think, to tell people, like, I'm a teacher and this colleague, that's the so long you go into and what usually happens then in terms of the test, to be tested as well. They decide whether and you are there and they want to be great enough. And what happens then is usually they experience in some sense of freedom, because usually in our Dutch school system, people will tell you what to do. And nowadays you are able to do what you want to do, which gives an odd feeling like I don't know where to go. And I have a lot of options, which means you finally feel some freedom, knowing we are all part of an progressive educational system to begin with. So that these things are mandatory in my classes. And it's not a special way, it's a kind of way of, of giving education, but it does work and it relieves a lot of pressure, including for me as a teacher as well.
Fantastic. Yeah, I would thank all of you so much for joining on this. I mean, we're going to do a more of a conclusion at the end as well to thank all of you once again for more formal thing. But now we're going to take a quick break, 5-minute break. Then we're going to delve into the Kahoot. So everybody, please, please give a big round of applause to both Mauritskade, Gareth, and Thank you very much. We'll be right back in about 5 seconds.
you send it in the morning, we start like, okay, just let's see. Your email. Oh, email. Yeah, much oh, just a second. You can log in. Maybe you could log in. No, I can email that comes here. Yeah, just yeah, this one, I think. Can I send it? There it is, yeah. Okay, I see. Oh, that's good. Okay, so let's say let's say we start in like 5 minutes. Yeah, it's up to you. Okay. I'll just set this timer for 5 minutes. Okay, you inform in advance in the Zoom and the people get ready. And also these people. Okay, can you inform them? Yeah, you can write in a message. Yeah, it's in 5 minutes. Okay. Thank you. Yeah, just now, what I need to do we need to log in or just maybe we can start it from here? Yeah, you can start it there. That's, it's confused. Just say it's from you, please. Yeah. Okay. Now, send it out. I can log in. Let's see. What did I do? I will make it so to in private mode.
What's the question? After are we like leaving immediately? Do we have to get out, or is there like 10 minutes, 15 minutes
It's going to be
mingling time?
Yeah,
Because it's really fun to like see all the volunteers. So if we like encourage people to like stick around for 4 more minutes to like meet people,
yeah, they'll be like.
if you want to leave, you can leave.
No. Yeah, they'll be like 10 to 15 minutes after.
Yeah, that's nice.
I mean, I don't think there's shut down for the now.
They can that's it.
Also, you're doing an amazing job.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks.
Like the way you're like doing it is really nice.
Thanks.
Really technical about it, man.
Yeah, I did know, but it's stressful. The technical things. Oh, thank you.
We are going to start out okay, then time. Ya, oğlum bu direkt şunu paylaşacağım değil mi? Bak bu şimdi bu. Yes. Milletle paylaşacağım. Değil mi? Bunlar şey değil. Şöyle. Ya biz abone upgrade oldu ya aldık ya. Daha hala diyorum. Basana. Yok bunun şey aldık ama yeni aldık da durmalıyız. Ya Rab. Siz dediğiniz için. Ya. What we observe, we have this for it to update your subscription. This is the link, and also I'm going to share the link. Can I share this link in the group chat, and the people can also join? Or should there be another link?
I don't think they need it because if it's on Zoom, they'll just be able to see the QR code.
Yeah, for Zoom, no, for the people, other people in the encourage them.
But like other people to join the whole meeting, like how do you think?
If they will stick up,
Yeah.
then they will come to Zoom.
Oh, sure.
That's what I'm thinking.
Oh, that's what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah, then I will
No, that's the right link to share.
Yes.
Because that's like my account.
okay, now let's stick it.
I think you can share the link once the page is up.
But before the list, just a second.
I don't know how it would really work. So
No problem. Lord White takes them.
the Wi-Fi. The Wi-Fi.
Okay. Sign up.
I'll be right.
Yeah. Oh, you
Because it is annoying.
Hala çekmiyor yani ne demek ya? Bizim sesimiz sanki böyle mi? Ya Richard, niye bu kadar upgrade?
Ya biz rahat be. Bence düz olmadı kadar. I was out there scared. Ormanın yarısı.
Upgrade.
Ya ya.
Ama siz Classic Mode seçtiniz ya.
Hmm.
Galiba mod değiştirince yükseliyor.
Bak, beni çıkarsana.
Ne yapmamız gerek? Bir daha basın üstüne.
Bastım çağırıyor yani. Sadece upgrade yani.
Sonradan yapmış.
Buradan şunu aldık. Yok, şunu aldık biz.
Yanlış akartan olabilir.
Yok. Ya da onu bilgisayara bağlasak bu sefer yayını veremeyiz değil mi? Verebilir miyiz yani? Onun bilgisayarına.
Bir dakika düşünüyorum. Buradan Zoom'a gidip bunun ekranı paylaşsam.
İşte yani
Biz de bunu lazım. Yani devam edelim.
Bunu HDMI kablosu.
Hayır.
var. HDMI var.
Hayır şöyle olacak ya.
Ya niye böyle yapıyor ya?
Bir dakika baba. Gitti sürekli baba. Buradan Zoom'a izin vereceksin. Orada ekran paylaşacak. Gekke achtergrond. Belli. Die nieuwe toch. Dus het is waarschijnlijk 2022 gezegd. Ik wel, Sen mooi. Ya öyle yapsın. Zoom'a bağlantı. Ekran şey var. Tamam. Login zoom, ekran ses. Gerek yok. Ses gerek varsa da oradan sesini açarsın. Yeah. Can you open your laptop?
I'll take a look.
Can you join the Zoom and you can use the one? I ask you.
Oh, I'm not even connected.
Oh yeah, join the Zoom.
Başlayalım.
Başlıyor musun? Başlayalım. Kaç dakika sürecek biliyorsun? 15 dakika var. Sonra siz şey yapın. Şimdi bu alırsa daha iyi mi? Hemen alalım gelsin. Hadi gel. Hemen gel. Tamam gereken mi? Ben çekeceğim. Ben gel birine sen mi soruyorsun soruları?
Let's see. I think I can just. I'll just connect the HDMI to this. Wait, just 1 sec. Okay. Yeah. Can you let me in?
Admit. Admit. Okay, come on this one. Then you are going to.
You need to open your sound.
Birazdan. We are going to share screen.
Let me go to my theater by account.
It's taking kalta. Hadi gidelim. Tabii.
Oh, why is this taking so long to load?
Cevapları da görebilir miyim?
Yok. Okan yayın devam ediyor değil mi şu an?
Umarım. Bakıyorum. Şu an böyle.
Nereye paylaşacak?
Ha?
Şu an neyi paylaşıyor peki?
Bizden bakayım. Uygulamamız gerek.
Evet,
Şu an böyle.
Şu an Kahoot ekranını paylaşıyorum.
Now scout on screen.
Orada kodu var.
Why is this? I did something wrong.
You need to go on mute, man.
Oh my god.
Trust me.
Oh my god.
Trust me, man. You and me both, man. All right.
Kapatmamışım sesi.
Where's this music? Where's the noise coming from?
From like I don't know.
Is it?
It's us talking.
Oh my god. It's beautiful. Beautiful.
Okay.
Sesi duyabiliyorsun şimdi.
No problem. Later we will upload the
I'm putting up the Kahoot right now.
bir şey. Okan, Okan? Şunu ayarlar mısın oğlum? Ekran. Bak, boş ver şunu ne? Paylaşılır mı?
We what happened? Oh, so give me one moment.
That's weird, yo. It doesn't make sense. Okay.
Baba. So babacım yanlış bir şey yaptınız. This HDMI needs to go in. You just need to join the Zoom.
Okay.
So there's the account.
Isn't it? Click upgrade. Anladım.
Now we have
No problem.
yes.
Yours.
Wait, what? I was sharing.
You will be in the Zoom.
I am in the Zoom.
Share your
It
screen.
was sharing.
Tamam, okay.
Oh,
Tamam.
like you didn't need to do that. Like it was all good, man. No, like can I just take this back?
Like the YouTube stream.
You want to stream YouTube up there?
Yeah.
But
No, like we are streaming YouTube from this computer.
but why do you want to show YouTube up there?
We're not showing YouTube up there. YouTube is getting like the stream from this screen.
Okay, but then how will the people here see the Kahoot?
Not
That'll
on
be
your
a
screen. On this.
on through the Zoom.
Yes. The Zoom
And
will
then
be on this
everything will
display.
okay.
Yeah,
Everything will be
like this. Did you where's share content?
oh, there it is.
To do it himself.
You know, he already shared. Where is control panel nerede?
Control panel is there.
Nerede o?
It's there. Like
Ya nerede? Ha şey. Oğlum hangi? Oğlum neresi ya? Kan. Paylaşır mısın?
nasıl ben mi?
Onun ekranı nerede?
Onu kendisi yapması gerekiyor.
You share your screen
Yeah, yeah.
in Zoom.
I'll do
Open
that.
Zoom.
All right, but I think no. But 1 second, because look, it doesn't change. The Kahoot is still only 10 players.
Var o. Why?
I don't know. I don't know.
Just can you click upgrade?
Sure.
Wait. Burada PayPal görebiliyor muyum?
Can you open your Cloud.com account? Cloud.com, not the Cloud.com.
This.
Oğlum ödeme yaptığından emin misin
Ya.
sen? Ekranı geldi okey dedi
Ya.
mi?
I'm going to double check.
People'a girer misin?
I'm
It said-
filming.
Because it went to a screen that said it worked successfully.
Yes.
Yeah.
Remember? You saw that too, right?
Hemen ara Orhan'ı. But can you
So I clicked upgrade, and I can
And-
show you the Kahoot.
come here upgrade?
You
Is
just
there
click it's the right
yeah account billing?
Yeah.
Can you click billing?
billing. I'll reload this.
It's really fun.
Because I'm thinking people are enjoying doing this too.
Yeah.
I think this is also nice where people just talk.
Yeah. They
You
want.
know?
Yeah, there is no
So
problem. Yeah.
I think maybe we don't do the Kahoot.
No,
thing.
let's do it. It's
You want to do it?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
alright.
Ciddi misin?
Yeah.
Damn.
Oğlum bu ekranı mı paylaşıyoruz şu an?
Ya.
Steam'de ne var?
Şimdi bu ekran var. Tada.
Bu ekran var. Bu ekranın ne işi var oğlum? Şu ekranın olması lazım.
Yes, I do something wrong.
Okay.
No, wrong screen. Now it works.
Okay, tamam. Arıyorum.
Yes, I'm calling.
Normal telefon ara, Samsung ara.
Samsung mu arayayım?
Hı hı.
Bilmiyorum, tamam. Telefon lazım.
Şundan ara adamdan ya.
Yok, o da kaydediyor.
Kaydediyor. Benimki de kaydediyor.
Hı.
Hmm,
Tamam, bekle. Halledeceğim.
Şeyden Gmail'e bakalım. Şey geldi mi?
Yeah, see, this is what it says then. It just says the Kahoot free plan. What the fuck? But we paid for it though, right?
Yeah, I think so.
I hope so.
Because like you also saw that
Inbox.
screen though.
Inbox double check yapalım.
Hadi geliyor mu?
Gelmiyor.
Ya.
Need more options?
Yok ne? Need more options. Evet.
Okay.
Ne? Hadi ya.
Bir dakika lan, şuradan baksana.
That's weird, isn't it?
Yeah, let's see what will happen. Let's sure everything's fine. In the screen, you see that
I
it's
saw it said
success.
it said it was successful. I closed and it said it was successful and told me to close that and I closed it. But also I'm not really connected to the wall. I was connected to the Wi-Fi, and now I just lost everything, so I can't really do it.
Just use this. Let me give you another user detail. Just
Do you have your own Kahoot account I can use?
No. I mean for Wi-Fi. I don't have.
Oh, for the no. I'm on the Wi-Fi was working before,
Okay.
but now it doesn't even show up.
It's also very easy.
Fan alltså. Fungerar det inte? No, it's good now. It's good. It's working. Nej! Men fattar du inte?
That's international rugby game. So you have to stay in touch with the taste the mixture.
So I think
Wacht. Je zit al 10 jaar te bellen, daarom. Stuur weer, wacht. Ik stuur weer, wacht.
just to be clear, you agree that the Kahoot was like
Okay, no problem. I'm just angry at him now.
like no Kahoot, right?
Yeah.
Yo, okay,
Cool,
hey, what's up, y'all? All right. Hello.
Yeah.
What's going on, y'all? You're doing all right? Having a good evening. So there will actually not be a Kahoot this evening. I know. It's why you came here tonight. There were technical difficulties, but I do want all of you to give yourselves a huge round of applause for showing up. Thank you so much for making this wonderful event.
Zekiz.
Have a lovely evening and
Bunu hemen
we
bağlar mısın Kahoot?
socialize a bit.
Yok oynamayacağız.
Hayır,
Take
Kahoot
care.
diyorum, Zoom'a. Kimse gelmiyor.
We missed the first one, I guess, but it's almost like random. Yeah, there are multiple perspectives.
Yeah. But damn. He's dead. Wat is dat nummer? Dat is oprecht dat nummer.
Kom, bespied onszelf naar boven.
BuzzFeed Unsolved. Zonder wifi.